Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks and Degenerates. Before we get into what the MCU has become, let's go all the way back to 2008's Iron Man, the first MCU movie.
Yes.
With me, as always, is John, and back with us is Seb. Hello, sir. How you doing?
¿Qué pasa? I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired, but like we gotta do this video, man. Like this is a cool movie.
Yeah.
And our boy got a new camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you
got a
look-
new camera. You could see what I look like now, for real.
he won't disappear mid-call.
Yeah, I won't disappear anymore.
So, back in 2008, did you know about Iron Man? Or like when you saw the first trailer, were you like, I'm excited for this? Or were you like, what is this?
Not a single thing.
You
man.
didn't know anything about Iron Man.
Nah. All I saw was the suit, and I was like, oh, I'm in. And like right after watching the movie, I was like, what was Iron Man? And then I saw the old design. I was like, what the? Like it looks nothing like him. He just has a square slit instead of the inky look. His mouth was just straight, and it looks like he was wearing spandex instead of like iron armor, which is not iron, as he said, but like yeah. But
Did you touch it?
I mean, he kind of
You-
it wasn't iron. But...
No, I mean like, did you touch the leg parts? Was it spandex? It's like you
don't know,
can say
but,
that
like-
it is. You could just pretend that it is, I guess.
I guess, but like
No.
it didn't have like the joints of like armor should. It was very like
Yeah, man, but this is like what, the fucking 60s?
yeah.
I did hear about him because at that time I started playing Ultimate Alliance 1. And
Yes.
You know.
yeah, and the two characters that really stuck out were Deadpool and Iron Man. Because the rest, like, I already kind of knew. Like, I know the X-Men. I know the Fantastic Four. Then who's Deadpool and who's Iron Man. And when the trailer came out, I'm like, oh shit. He looks
Yeah.
sleeker. I was excited for this. And yeah, watching this movie, I was like, yep. It's funny how this was a Universal property too. Because every time I rewatch this, I'm like, alright. It used to be a Universal property.
I keep forgetting, even with like the Avengers one.
How about you, Seb? What are your thoughts?
Alright, so I know of Iron Man because I watched the Ultimate Avengers movies. Like, they came out in 06. So I was able to see, like this wasn't even my first foray into like a cohesive Marvel universe, because I was still relatively fresh out of watching both the Ultimate Avengers movies, and they don't hold up that well today. They're a little too weird now, but like that was my first foray into it, and I knew of Iron Man in that movie. He was in that movie. Ultimate Avengers was my first foray into Iron Man and War Machine, because Tony wears the War Machine suit in the sequel, which is a little weird but cool, because I'm like, oh, it's Iron Man but with guns everywhere. So I have seen it, and I know of Iron Man, but man, was RDJ's Iron Man a very different monster. Because in Ultimate Avengers, he was very secretive about who he was. Like, he really tried his best for no one to find out he was Iron Man. Like,
Still,
people
like,
thought
narcissistic?
he's egotistic as Tony, not so much as Iron Man. Like, as Iron Man, there was a lot of, like, if Batman was less emo, like,
Okay.
more like, I don't talk much type of, like, he doesn't talk much about himself. He will talk shit to the enemy, but, like, it's not anything like RDJ's. Like, it feels like what would have happened if, like, Warner Brothers got a hold of the Iron Man property and decided to go that route with it. So RDJ's very charismatic, very cool version of Tony Stark was really it was mind-blowing to me. Also, I'm looking at the Ultimate Avengers just to make sure that I watched it before Iron Man, because I remember I was super young when I first saw it. I was like in maybe grade 5, grade 4.
Yeah. I was 7
Um,
years old that time when I
mm,
watched
Mm.
it.
and I'm seeing that the guy who played Hulk is Soldier 76. Yeah, the guy who Hank Pym is Nolan North, and the Hulk was played by Soldier 76 / Caustic, so that's pretty cool.
It's like, what the
It was an interesting movie. It was an interesting movie. If you guys are if you guys are just really trying to deep dive into Marvel, check out the Ultimate Avengers movies. They're
Okay.
a time. Is it a
Okay.
good time? Maybe. But is it an interesting time? For sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and we know that the studio wanted Tom Cruise at first, and Jon Favreau had to fight for RDJ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I forgot Jon Favreau did this one.
Yeah,
The man who did the Mandalorian. I was like, alright, makes sense why it's so good.
Favreau is very good at putting life back into franchises.
Yes.
And I would compare him to Rick Rubin, the music producer Rick Rubin. His whole thing is just to take everything to the roots of what made something good, and then just be like, we're doing that. A lot of that. But the gamble was really RDJ.
Yeah.
RDJ was a massive gamble, because at the time RDJ was borderline blacklisted in Hollywood for his past. And
Yep.
understandably so. He was really unstable before all of this. And even though he did go to rehab and fix himself up, that's not really a basis for trust of just trust me, bro. This is the opportunity that RDJ really needed to get his career back on track, and man, did he fucking take it.
yeah,
I mean, it was this and Tropic Thunder that came out in the same year. My god,
Thunder was
it
so
skyrocketed.
nuts.
Yeah.
it's this Tropic Thunder, and then Sherlock the next year. We're like, all right, I guess he's back.
It was a good lineup. It was a good lineup for
Yeah.
RDJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as we start the movie, we get introduced to Tony Stark, who is arrogant and he's a bit of a prick. But we had to start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
We also learned that while he was growing up, Obadiah Stane, played by Jeff Bridges, took over for a bit, and then when Tony came of age, he took over from Obadiah, and they are partners essentially.
Yeah, and I love this because, well, first time watching this, I didn't know who the hell Iron Man was. I thought it was just a guy with a suit, and he fights crime or fights terrorists. Nah, this guy is our Elon Musk. He on
Yes.
steroids.
Yes.
This guy has a brain size of the Empire State Building.
Yes. He was actually based off of Elon.
Really now?
He's based off of, the characterization of Tony is based off of Elon to a degree. In fact, he is in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, he was. They greeted each
Yeah.
other in Monaco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's actually cool knowing the fact that he was based on Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, and you could see that the shit that he makes, it works, and it works really well.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he,
The Jericho missile, I was like, God hope that thing ain't real.
It's a great name, though. It's
Yeah,
a
it
great
is.
name for a missile system. It's really good.
Yeah,
But
God,
it was
would we all be fucked if that was normal?
fuck.
right.
If that was something that the military was yeah, we have those. For real, no fucking way.
I love the little bit of backstory with him. When he was 12, he built his first Harley Davidson from scratch. I was like, damn, what was I doing when I was 12?
Yo, to be fair, we can't all afford Harley Davidson parts.
That's true.
That's true.
You know, even if you're the greatest Gundam builder in the world, and this taught you really good engineering, which essentially would just on a higher level would be what you would do if you were building a fucking car, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have I can afford car parts money,
Yeah, kind of money.
you know?
And yes, you mentioned he makes his fortune via weapons.
He graduated from MIT at 14 or 16, right?
Yeah.
That's what's nuts. Graduating MIT before you even turn 18 is nuts.
Yeah. And then he's captured by the Ten Rings while on a military convoy. And
Yep.
that's where we meet Yinsen.
Yes.
Yes.
Dude,
And-
they really race bet those fuckers too.
Hmm?
Yinsen is Asian in the comics,
Oh my god.
and the Ten Rings is led by the Mandarin,
Who is Asian?
who is of Asian. Yeah, he is Asian, but you know what the race bend was for? It's a very racist reason. It's because it was normal to see Middle Eastern people as villains, so they race bent all of them to be at least a little Middle Eastern.
So Universal was like, let's not look racist, but look very racist at the same time.
Like, listen to Yin Sen's name. Does that sound Middle Eastern? Like, Yin Sen is like a Chinese name. Or, like, if you want to push it, Tibetan.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I would say
Like-
Tibetan.
Yeah. Like, and you got a guy that roughly looked like Stanley Tucci, right? Like, and you could, like, really push that to be Middle Eastern if you're really forced to. But when you really think about, like, what's this guy named Yin Sen doing in the fucking Middle East and shit?
Yeah,
Well,
I
like-
mean,
The Ten Rings were very weirdly framed in 2008.
Yeah.
It was a very big cop-out. They should have been a mostly Asian organization. But then
Yeah.
I guess with the times changing, you know, like, back then the Vietnamese were mostly seen as the bad guys. Like, the Vietnamese and I guess, like, you know, prime communist China was, like, easy to vilify, but fuck. This is, like, a race bent for very racist reasons.
yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I will say though, like these things that they happen at the first part before him meeting Jensen, where the convoy gets shot up. You won't see that anymore with Disney.
That was dark.
yeah.
That was really
That was dark. And it was well filmed. It was
What's
really
he-
well filmed.
Yeah, what's even worse is that like they were kind of bonding at the same time. They're laughing at Tony Stark's jokes,
Mm.
and then like that one lady sort of like, "Stay here!" Closes the door. Bap, bap, bap. And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Mm-hmm.
It was that kind of movie, which I did not expect.
You also won't see a scene of them operating on Tony's chest without any anesthetics.
Oh my god! A lot of gruesome shit here before Disney had their hands on
Yeah.
the Marvel. license
Dude, I would have
shit.
fucking preferred it if Universal kept it, man. Can you imagine how gritty the movies would be?
Yeah.
It'd be so fucking gritty.
Just imagine if what Hawkeye could have done. Well, I mean, we kind of saw it in the Avengers movie, like more.
I
Like,
mean,
imagine Universal with Feige.
Oh my
That would have been nuts.
That would've
Universal
been
with
so
Feige
good.
would have been fucking nuts.
god, that would so good.
I mean, skipping one move ahead, like Norton's Hulk kicks Abomination towards a tree and he splats on the tree.
oh yeah, he
oh
goes,
my
then
God.
he hits a tree and goes limp. I was like, oh my god.
Didn't he like stab him with a bone or some shit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know,
Dude,
like-
like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Incredible
yeah.
Hulk was brutal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like really brutal.
I think
His
his
elbow.
Abomination had a bone sticking out of his elbow. Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, back to Iron Man. Like they tell him, build us one of our own Jericho missiles. He's like, I'm not doing that, and they start to make a mini arc reactor for Tony and start making a suit for Tony as well. But
Oh yeah.
the leader of the Ten Rings catches wind of this and says is about to put some like hot coal in the instant smells like wait I need him. And like you have until tomorrow to complete this suit. And then they work all night and then again they catch wind of it and as they're starting up the suit Yinsen's like we need more time and he goes out with a machine gun trying to scare away the Ten Rings members.
Yeah. And I gotta say, like, this is not the suit that I expected. Like, I saw the trailers and I saw this. I was like, what the fuck is that? And then when it like came alive, I was like, okay.
the Mark
like
1
it.
really looks like that.
Yeah.
The Mark 1, like the original Mark 1 looked like that.
Yeah, just minus like the gaps and the like flamethrowers sticking out.
He looked like a
He-
metal Michelin man.
minus
his,
the
like-
curves.
In like Tales of Suspense, like his debut, it
Yeah.
was like a silver, very beefy suit.
Yeah.
He looked like an angry version of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
And if only had a heart.
A thin
But
man
yeah.
with flamethrowers. And
Yes.
another scene you won't see is like when he gets stuck, one guy tries to headshot him, and then it ricochets.
Oh yeah,
off
it
him.
bounces back.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that was so good.
And then
Oh,
he finds Yinsen, who's been shot up. And early on, he's like, after this, I have to go back to my family. And then he knocks out the main Ten Rings guy, and he's like, come on, man, we have to see your family again. It's like, they're already dead. I am going to see them. By the way, before he dies, he says, don't waste this life. And he didn't, for sure.
He literally Saving Private Ryan'd him.
Yeah,
Oh, that was exactly what Tom Hanks
Yeah.
told Matt Damon.
earn this.
Don't wait.
Earn this.
Yeah, almost fucked up the line. And you see Tony start going old.
He doesn't grow old. Which makes things worse. Oh god.
And then through flames and destruction, he flies away for a bit and then crashes back to Earth. And then Rhodes rescues him in time, and then they go back to America where Tony insists on having this press conference, and he's like, in that press conference, we also meet Phil Coulson for the first time. And he says,
I mean, Agent.
yeah, Agent Coulson.
His first name is Agent.
His first name is Agent.
Right.
No, but like, I gotta point out one thing about this fucking press conference, because he asked for a press conference and fucking cheeseburgers. Am I the only one who thinks that Iron Man 1 is the reason Burger King's back in the Philippines?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
complete-
remember. I remember it was gone.
Burger King was gone. Completely gone. Iron Man comes out, and suddenly Burger King slowly start popping out.
I swear to God, it was Burger King and then shawarma.
Yeah, dude, anytime Tony Stark's hungry for anything, suddenly everyone's hungry for that thing.
There's a time when the company can capitalize on it.
It's like, we're going bankrupt, we're going bankrupt. Sir, our stocks just went up 100-fold. What? Why? Tony Stark wanted Burger King when he came back from the fucking Middle East or some shit. I'm like, damn. Bring out the fucking Whoppers, boys. Let's fucking go. I wanted a cheeseburger from Burger King so bad.
Right after the movie, same here.
Same.
I watched it in
Specifically
festival.
Burger
There was
King.
no Burger King.
I just wanted a bag full of those, like, just like a double cheeseburger from Burger King.
Oh yeah, because like when he got to the press conference, he would finish one, then he would go into the bag and get another. I
Yeah,
was like,
he had
"Oh."
more.
Yeah.
Like that was. Oh god. What?
Stop
What?
it, you're
He
making
was
me hungry, man.
He was living the dream, man. I actually might go for some after this now. Just
It's not the Audi R8. It's the bag of burgers.
like the Audi's cool, but we're all being fucking realistic here. I can't just like end this video and buy an Audi. But I can buy a fucking bag of Burger Kings.
And in that press conference, he says, we're not making weapons anymore. Stark Tech is done with that. And he goes and tries to make a slicker version of the Mark 1. Which he starts with Mark 2, or not first. Well, he tries
Mark II.
flying.
Mark II.
I will say the dialogue between him and Obadiah Stane was pretty good. Where they look at the arc reactor, the prototype thing that they have in like, where was it, Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's pretty much like, what the fuck are you doing? Our entire fucking franchise is built on war economy.
Mm.
And I don't know, I just love Jeff Bridges as a villain. I wish they
Dude,
kept him.
this was my first foray into Jeff Bridges as a villain. Or
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges in general. So, like, my default was bald Jeff Bridges. Because, like, I'm young. This is, like, my first foray into, like, developing my own taste in film. And before this, I didn't, like, fucking watch The Big Lebowski or anything.
Mm.
So, like, I didn't know, like, long-haired dude bro Jeff Bridges. So when I saw Jeff Bridges here, this was my first experience with Jeff Bridges. So I was like, this guy's really scary and, like, not chill at all, just to find out that he mostly built his career being chill. So, like, he's a really good actor. It's a shame that R.I.P.D. made him fucking retire, but man, is Jeff Bridges a fucking powerhouse. Ironmonger, in my opinion, is still one of the best villains. Like, if we're going for, like, before we had, like, the... what's this? The Zemos of the world, and the Mysterios and the Thanoses. Like, Obadiah was, like, one of the only decent villains of the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just simple. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to save the world by doing something really horrible. No, he was like,
and his motivation is good.
Yeah.
His motivation is good. Because, like, he also thinks that Tony is not, like, good enough to understand what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, he thinks that he deserves the Stark Company because who's been keeping it afloat? Like, who's actually been profiting from what the Stark Company is known for? Like, he would have actually kept it up and lived up to the reputation of what the Stark Company previously held. And here comes Tony coming back going like, we don't make weapons anymore. Then what the fuck do we make? We don't fucking make anything!
We're making Teslas.
No, and what Tony's making is really unprofitable. Like, think about it. Like, we're making renewable energy. You can't continuously profit from renewable energy. Because it's fucking renewable. You don't break renewable energy. It just comes back. So...
Yeah, and I guess that's why, like, I have to call back with, like, Iron Man 2, he actually just gives the company to Pepper Potts. Because you could tell that he doesn't want to run it.
I forgot
himself.
that happened.
Hmm?
I forgot that happened. I haven't seen Iron Man 2 in so long.
Dude,
I like-
he gives
I like the
so
Monica
much
scene.
trust to his fucking assistant. Like, at some point you're just like, I understand that you trust her, but there is a part of me that thinks you trust her too much.
Agreed.
Like, she does seem great, but how were you so correct with that? Because, like, when you... Like, he was gone for, what, months, right? Then, suddenly, I don't know. Handing your fucking company over to your assistant?
I guess
Assistant?
it's been years since the Iron Man incident in Los Angeles, but
Oh,
I don't know, dog.
I also agree. Like, it was like really to your assistant. Oh, maybe she has a PhD.
Like,
somewhere that we
maybe
don't know about.
Rhodey.
maybe.
Like, maybe Rhodey. I would maybe hand it to Rhodey. But, like, I just feel like... I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, yeah, carry on, Enzo.
I do like the first test sequence where he does it like maximum power and just slams in the ceiling. The thing just puts him out.
Oh, okay.
That was
Okay.
convincing.
Yeah.
That was actually really convincing. It looked like he slammed into the fucking wall.
Yeah. Then like
And
his-
I got like, being an engineer hasn't been cool since, you know, this movie came out. Like, seeing somebody weld with like really nice music and hot rods at the back. I was like, man, I want to be an engineer.
Not gonna lie, same. At the time, I was like, maybe I will want to go into engineering. Like, it does actually seem cool.
And then the first real test flight when he's flying around LA is pretty cool too.
No, that wasn't his first test flight. His first test flight was the one that made me clinch like a motherfucker when I rewatched it, because he was going over like the Cobra, the McLaren,
right.
and then all the nice cars. I was like, stop!
Uh-huh. No, but like, this is one of the last times the MCU was truly like a spectacle. Because like, they weren't CGing everything. Like, a lot of the Iron Man parts, until the Disney takeover actually, a lot of it had well, actually this one the most, had a lot of practical parts to it. There are a lot of real mechanical parts to this, and I miss that from Marvel.
Yeah, same here.
I agree.
Like, everything just looks like gooey CGI now. Everything's too perfect. But man, this was actually it's like LucasArts level of a good mix of practical and CG. Like, I wish the MCU would go back to that kind of style. It's expensive, but like, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and it's
It's
Disney.
Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
And they have all the money in the world. It's not like they're losing money to this shit. They're just like, you wanna actually invest actual time into making these movies really well crafted and interesting and actual works of art? Nah, they'll fucking give us the billion no matter what. Fuck it.
They ain't wrong.
I mean, we're watching Doctor Strange this weekend, so like obviously
Obviously.
we should give more shits, but we don't.
I like how he tells her was like,
That's the fight.
if you spray me again and I'm not on fire, I'm donating you to community college. I think he's like, okay.
That sounds kind of great.
And then he crashes his own what is it? Charity party. And
Oh
then
yeah, where we see like Stan Lee being
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner,
Yeah. Looking good, Hugh, and he's like, what?
which is funny since Hugh's still alive.
Yeah. But I think maybe Hugh was like, hey, I don't really want to be in a superhero movie. And I guess it was their way of like, oh, it might be Hugh, but it's not.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a joke.
And then he dances with Pepper for a while and then leaves her on the roof because he's confronted by the reporter he slept with at the beginning of the movie. And she's like, you're talking about accountability. Is this accountability? And she shows him the war crimes happening in Yinsen's hometown.
Oh, yeah.
And then he confronts Obadiah about it and he's like, tells him, like, I'm the one who filed the injunction against you. And Tony's pissed and he's looking at the news and he decides to do something about it. And that is one of the coolest shots when the suit is closing around him.
No, for me, the coolest shots. Like, we'll talk about it later. We'll get to it. But, like, yeah, he flies over to, I guess, Afghanistan? Or what was it?
Somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah. And I like it. I like it that Tony's murking these people. They got a hold of a tank. He pretty much just like shoots a missile at it. There's a little bit of a delay. It's
a small missile too.
Yeah.
It's a small ass missile.
The first
you
guy...
can tell that it was the Iron Man equivalent of like drawing your sword and putting it back in.
The first
He
guy...
shoots a Roman candle at a tank and it explodes.
It just goes, wee!
The first guy he kills, he just uppercuts him to another house. I'm like, yeah, that guy's dead.
Oh, and like uppercut blaster hand?
Yeah.
And then the meme thing.
Ice cream! But it was fucked up though, like at the start of it, like a family rushes into their home, this guy kicks down the door and just starts firing. I was like, again, this is supposed to be a kid's movie, not really a kid's movie, but it was like a superhero movie where kids were like, oh, I want to watch it. But it was very real.
Iron Man really started the trend of making good for basically anyone's superhero movies, because up until that time, the coolest superhero movie, or at least the one that really got this ball rolling, was Blade.
Yeah.
And I was very far from being old enough to see Blade. So, like, they have been wondering whether it should be targeted towards adults or kids. And here they're like, let's just get everybody.
Yeah.
And they're gonna push that PG-13 rating, which they did. Like, those fight scenes, or at least the scenes where he's like taking out like the fucking terrorists and shit, those weren't like light scenes. Those were brutal scenes. Like, that's still like plasma hitting human, you know? That's still titanium punching a dude through a wall.
And I love that scene where they all had hostages.
Dude, that one scene where he pulls someone out of the wall,
Yeah. And like, he's all yours.
He's all yours.
Yeah.
Flies away. I don't know. I just love that scene where he like turns around. Everybody's a hostage, and he puts his hands down and like does the like Western hand thing, like readying for his gun. The thing comes out and hits everybody. Pretty much the what was it?
The Mandalorian whistling bird.
Whistling birds. Yeah.
Basically.
Jon Favreau was like, "I'll get that back."
I'm gonna do that shit again. We outnumber you 4-1. cool. Those are good odds.
And then the U.S. was observing the situation apparently, and then they send 2 jets to scramble over there because like there's a bogey. We don't know what it is, and they call in a Rhodes and like he's like, I'll call up Tony Stark just to figure out if he has something there.
Yeah, and I love this scene. The entire time the jets are like trying to catch him, but again, it's a small person. A small person flying at the speed of like a jet, like a Mach 5. I don't know. And the entire time it was really cool.
Yeah.
And him hiding underneath the jet. It's like he's just holding on.
Actually, it is me. I am the one in the suit. He's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, I'm driving. Oh, you seem distracted. Yeah, I'm driving. You seem out of breath. Oh, I'm jogging. I thought you were driving.
I was driving to the place where I'm jogging. Okay, it's me in the suit. It's me in the fucking suit, bro. It's me in the. Ah!
And then he knocks out one of the jet's wings, and the guy fails to deploy his suit because it's malfunctioning. And he has to...
Thank God he didn't goose it at least.
At least. And he saves him in time, and he flies away. And then Rhodes is like, what am I supposed to tell the press? He's like, training incident? Isn't that the usual bullshit? And he's like, you can't just say training incident. Then the next day he's like, there was an unfortunate...
It was a training incident.
The 2 jets fighting.
You know,
with each other.
That's just classic comedy right there, you know? Like, that's the comedy anyone would go for. People use that shit in, like, fucking YouTube videos. Like, it's... Like, that thing where you're like, oh no, how are we supposed to... We did a thing. You know, that's always a great way to deliver a joke, and man, was it delivered great there. We can't use training exercise. No one's gonna believe it was a fucking training exercise. There was an unfortunate training exercise. That was...
and then we also find out in the Middle East that Obadiah is working with the 10 Rings. And they found Iron Man's Mark 1. And they're like, if I give this to you, will you give this to me? And he's like, you know what? Technology has always been your weakness in this area of the world. And like paralyzes the main guy. Like, I'm gonna take this off your hands.
With like the fucking supersonic sound thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be so nuts. I'd use the shit out of that thing if I had it.
And then again, something you won't see in the Disney MCU is like when he comes out of the tent, he's like, all right, we're done here. And then he just execute all of them. Like, fuck.
I kind of like it that Obadiah has his own Black Ops team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a weapons company. That makes all the sense in the world. You know?
That's true.
And then he gets frustrated at one of the scientists because they're like, we don't have the technology. He's like, you do. Just make it smaller. Like, we can't. It's like, and then he screams.
Tony like, Stark!
The meme. In the cave! With a bunch of scraps!
Yeah, he screams at future Mysterio henchmen. It's like, alright, sir, I'll try.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm not Tony Stark. Bitch! Then what have we been doing for the last few fucking years? Has he been doing everything? I did wonder though why a room full of fucking Stark engineers aren't capable of like. So what are they doing if Tony Stark is the one constantly building the shit that matters?
Right.
They're supposed to be Stark engineers. They're supposed to be good at this shit.
It's like, don't you hire the best of the best?
No, it's a weapon. They're weapons engineers. Like, just do weapons engineer shit.
Or I mean, like, I don't know why they couldn't ask Tony for like, hey, how'd you build that thing? That seems like a good idea. Let's market on it.
No, and the other thing is like how they built the big arc reactor then.
Right? Just reverse engineer it, make like it smaller. I know it's hard to do.
It couldn't have been Tony in the room alone.
Right?
Building the giant arc reactor. Like, I'm sure he had dudes in there.
he even said that we have the same thing back home, but it's a prototype. So for sure he's not the only one who built it.
Yeah, it should have been a team. Why didn't he just get them?
I guess they just had to have that you know, that
Tony
really
Stark.
intense scene where
they
Tony
needed,
Stark starts, you know, catatonic and like, you know,
they needed to make Tony Stark feel required,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
indispensable. Oh god, no, but like that was, I mean, like that scene where he fucking paralyzes him is fucking terrifying.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be capping if you don't think that shit's scary, because it definitely was scary.
Just
And like
pulls
the
out this.
veins popping out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he just pulls out his heart like, oh my god.
So just okay, like right now you are pretty much in sleep paralysis while you're awake, and
No,
you're going through cardiac arrest.
yeah. Like you're basically being asked to drive yourself to the hospital in the middle of a heart attack.
Which my dad did.
Damn.
Yeah. He didn't know he was having a heart attack.
Damn.
Yep.
But yeah, before that, he sends Pepper to gather info on Obadiah, and that also is a tense scene because she's like,
Oh
"Please
yeah,
don't-"
where she was like going through it and like trying to like get files. And you know when the computer goes like, oh, it's 99%. Give us a second to hit 100.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, hurry the fuck up.
No, but the other thing, I was like, why didn't you close your fucking tabs, bro?
Exactly.
Right?
I
Like,
feel like you could have done that. Can you imagine if like Obadiah was like, Pepper, what are you doing here? And she's just like, I'm
watch
looking at
at
porn.
He's like, "You do you, Pepper. Fine, I'm
Yeah,
leaving."
but I actually think that would have caused her to be like, I'll come back later. You know? Because he would have not wanted anything to do with that shit.
No, what was weird was like she was at his desk, right? He walks in on her at the desk,
Yeah.
and as he gets to the screen, it's just a screensaver, like going through the hot rod blueprints and showing them like, really? Do you think that's what she's looking at?
It's like, have you been staring at the screensaver for how long? Excuse you?
Right?
Pepper's just staring at the screensaver going like, God, I love watching those pipes just continually build themselves. You know, those screensavers? Like, damn, how long
Stark
did this
Industries
keep going?
still have the fucking old Microsoft.
Yo, if I could have those screensavers, I fucking would.
For
I
sure
don't
there
know.
is. Look up at Live Wallpaper. It's on the Windows App Store.
Alright, cool.
It's really nice.
Alright. But yeah, he discovers that she downloaded the files, and he starts to follow her, and then she bumps into Agent, and he's like, "We have a meeting." He's like, "We do have a meeting. Come with me."
Agent, son of Cole.
please." Yes. Please follow me.
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
come over with me, Friar Agent boy. You and your bald spot, come with me right now. I need fucking protection.
I love how they're like, Glocks are fine. Well, I mean, they didn't know that there was a huge ass fucking
Iron Man.
mech inside.
Yeah.
Let's be fucking real. Like, the Shield is just a bunch of dudes with Glocks. Like, sometimes they got M4s, but man, do these guys love their Glocks.
Yeah.
They come into their operations with Glocks a lot.
I mean, I guess it was the end of the era of the P90, and they started to move on to the Glock. So
The
I guess
Glock's a fucking pistol, though. They could have, like,
yeah.
maybe come in with some modern MP5s or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, like some SMG.
Yeah, something. Like, dude, you're American. Come in with fucking random generic M4s for all I care.
Right.
I'm in with a double barrel. It'll be more of your character.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Obadiah seals Tony's heart, and he has to summon the last of his strength to
Get the other heart.
Yeah, get the other heart.
Yeah, which was like a present from Pepper.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really nice present. Yeet! Just destroys it. Puts it. How do you think he did that?
Right?
Because he had to. Did he just.
Yeah, he pretty much
That must have been the
around.
most painful shit. Like, just digging into your own chest. Just be like, oh god, that was so painful. Oh my god, I fucking. Oh, why did I do this? I should have just died. Insert Middle Eastern country here. God, that was fucking painful.
And
That's
then,
like ripping out your fingernail, I assume.
yeah. Oh
Why
my
did you have
god.
to bring in nails?
And then Shield comes to arrest Obadiah with Pepper for some reason, and then they get wiped out by Bridgers. And then as this is going on, Rhodes wakes up Tony, and Tony's like, "I have to rescue Pepper," and he flies off. And then Rhodes goes, looks at the suit and goes, "Next time." And we've been waiting for something that will never happen ever again.
Well, not for him specifically.
Well, not for
Yeah.
him,
For the character, he does get into.
Yeah.
not for the actor, not for Terrence Howard.
No.
That's
But
what
he
happens
is
when
in
you
a
ask
hit show
for.
called Empire.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when
didn't
you
watch
ask for more money than the main star.
Right.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, that shit was terrifying. The scene where Pepper Potts is like looking through the chains of this like budgeted Saw place, and like Saw dungeon, and then the eyes just glow, and then you see how big it is. I'm like, oh my god! And you see these guys like not really thinking. He's like, I got a Glock, I can take it. Like really now.
I mean, the SHIELD agents have a tendency to think their Glocks will work against these giant motherfuckers. You know, Black Widow did come in meeting Banner with the Glock, so...
Then they take on the Destroyer with Glocks too, or weren't they prepped for it with Glocks as well? Like, alright, I guess
The
that was...
Destroyer?
Yeah, and Thor.
They're just like, Glocks! We have Glocks! Glocks!
Like,
Thanos?
like,
Glocks! Glocks!
like you open their armory, it's just all pistols.
They come in facing Kang the Conqueror. Glocks! Here we are again with our Glocks!
One of the secret cases kept the servers in the first Avengers is all Glocks. Like super
Yes.
secret Hydra Glocks. Like, alright, that's not
Hydra
unusual.
Glocks!
Hydra Glocks. It's just
Hydra
blue.
The plot twist of the Hydra Glocks is we use 50 BMGs in our Hydra Glocks. 50 BMG Hydra Glocks. All our wrists are shattered after the first shot.
The gun won't even make it.
We're all one-shot Glocks with 50 BMGs.
And then Obadiah pops through the street, and then Tony makes it in time to save Pepper. But this whole time, the energy is wearing out because he's using his old heart. And
Right,
it is a cool
It
fight.
was pretty much it was a handicap fight, which I really liked. Like they gave us a scene where what it would be like if it was in full operational mode, and now they're giving us like, oh, we took 50% of it, and he has to fight that thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just toying with him for a bit. Like, he launches Tony to a bus, and then I thought Tony would escape when he fires that rocket, but you see him flying with the flames. Like, alright, there's this movie.
Yeah. To be honest, I really liked the Ironmonger. When somebody came into our school with the figure, compared to the small ass Iron Man figure, I was like, I want that thing so bad. It was brown for some reason, but I don't know. But that shit was sick.
Amber Heard got a hold of it.
Oh. And then he flies off, and you learn that the Ironmonger can fly too. And like, wow, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and people made fun, like, oh, it's so heavy, huh? I'm like, have you seen a rocket fly up?
Yeah.
It's pretty realistic.
And then he
And the flying there was actually pretty well filmed. Like, all
Yeah.
of the flying there was really, like, you're watching it, but for some reason it's tactile.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
he catches up to Tony, and he's like, how did you solve the icing problem? He's like, icing problem?
Icing problem.
Bunk.
And he's like, I think I've won. And Jarvis is like, now we're at 2%. 1%. And he falls back to it. Back to the same
Tony
thing.
had the iPhones of suits.
Right?
He's like, fuck.
They get to this scene where they're on the rooftop of, I guess, the main building of the arc reactor.
Mhm.
Yeah. And how did Obadiah get there?
He landed there, I think.
Okay, crashed or?
Yeah, crashed there, and then he was still okay. And then Tony has no more powers, so he tries to use every resort he has, and then eventually has to tell Pepper to hit the switch of the arc reactor.
What I like about Tony's armor, how did he deploy the flares? Did he do it manually?
No, I told Jarvis to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he did it manually. Never mind my statements.
And then Obadiah is shooting missiles at him. Like, you knocked out my targeting system. I still have aim. I still have my own eyes. And then he's telling Pepper,
I'll eyeball it.
yeah, like, just hit the switch, and she does, and it overloads Obadiah, and he dies. He crashes down to the arc reactor, and Tony's knocked unconscious, and you hear Pepper screaming his name, and he wakes up like ready with like an alibi, like a bullshit alibi. Like, I was on my yacht. I don't know what happened.
Don't mind the bruises.
Yeah. It's like, how do you
Yeah.
get... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and this was pretty much our first time seeing. Excuse me. Our first time seeing a superhero pretty much be like, yeah, I was that guy.
I am Iron Man. That's such a cool scene too. And the
Yeah.
music that comes with it, like, alright.
Black
Yeah.
Sabbath's Iron Man.
That's Iron Man. I was like, huh, did Black Sabbath know?
No, but to me, like, the more notable part when he's like, you know, you guys from the Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division, and he's like, just call it SHIELD. I'm like, did you fucking say, did you just fucking say SHIELD? Bitch, I thought you were CIA. You're SHIELD?
Right?
Because if you're SHIELD,
That means...
Tony's about to make some fucking friends.
Yep.
Like that was like my immediate like thought. Like, shit, he's gonna make some friends. They're actually building up to the Avengers. Like, I knew that soon that they were building up to the Avengers.
I knew
Because if you
nothing.
mention SHIELD, it immediately goes into the idea of, oh shit, the government is putting the Avengers together soon. Like,
Yeah.
it starts with this. Once he said SHIELD, an entire cohesive cinematic universe was born. Just from him saying, just call it SHIELD.
Yeah.
Like, there were certain people that had no idea. But for people who at least had some of an idea, you were like,
Like, oh shit.
You would have had my eyes. You'd have just been
he said SHIELD!
like...
Yeah, it was quite the moment.
If that wasn't enough of a confirmation, Tony returns home, and there's this figure, and it's Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and he's like, I would like to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Blew everyone's mind at the time.
And again, I'm still too young for that to know anything because I don't really read comics all that much around that age. I was like, what is that? And then we got the Hulk movie. I was like, ugh. Because, like, you know, the bar scene where you're like, we're making a team. Right?
So, for the first entry into the MCU, what would you rate this?
Man, this was a good movie. This was a really fucking good movie. And it was a good start. And I wish they stayed consistent with how... There's the one thing I will deduct from it. It's like, I wish they stayed with the grit, the feel of... Like, it's also an adult movie. I mean, there's some movies like that. But this was like the one that started it. Oh, people are getting shot up. You see Tony bleeding out in the middle of the desert. I wish he kept that kind of thing and showed us. But other than that, this shit was amazing. The suit was amazing. It was nostalgic rewatching this. And I loved everything about it. And I'm glad this was the starting point. They went fucking far when they started this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 9.5 for me.
Could you imagine Winter Soldier under Universal? That'd be pretty cool.
Right! Just imagine the assassinations that they would have shown. I would have loved that.
No, and imagine we would probably still have the Winter Soldier.
Right? He's
On
not
Red
gonna be
Universal.
buddy.
Yeah, he's not gonna go back to being Bucky Barnes. He's gonna be Winter Soldier. He'll keep the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
As for me, yeah, I agree with Jomer. This is like a really great start, and as a for the first entry and with this character, a unknown character to start up something bigger, that's risky, and
Yep.
it definitely did pay off. And we have what we have now thanks to Iron Man. Uh, and it's all around a really good time revisiting this movie. So I'll also give this a 9 out of 10.
The mix of practical CG, um, uh, Robert Downey Jr. just being the charismatic powerhouse that we know today, just nuts.
Yeah,
This movie made me love um, RDJ. This movie also gave me hope that a cohesive cinematic superhero universe could be made, and it would be cool, and that the comics franchise is growing with me as an adult. Like, I could keep this with me as I go on, and as you can see, we're making content now as adults on this. Like,
Yep.
this was a movie in 2008. We're making content on it. It's 2021 now, like 13 years? 2022, so like 14 years after. And it's still relevant. It's still one of the best.
Yes, agreed.
Which is unfortunate for the MCU as a whole. That it still holds up way better than like a lot of movies of the MCU, but fuck. They were crafty. Like, Favreau should have been the guy all the way to Avengers. Like, they shouldn't have given it to Joss. They should have given the overall control to Favreau. It would have turned out a lot better. But,
Agreed.
man, this was such a good start. Like, as good of a start as you can possibly have. The only downside about it is Obadiah just comes off a little bit one-dimensional. But, like, other than that, it's a solid 9 naman for me.
Hmm.
I would watch this, and I would, like, have my kids watch this in the future.
Same here.
I believe it would still hold up.
same here. Yeah.
Like, in like 2030, I believe this movie would still hold up.
Yeah, and since we're done with Iron Man, for the next few videos, we'll continue with the present timeline of the MCU, and then we'll continue with a very interesting show before the big movie. But yeah, that's been a video on Iron Man. You can find us at Facebook at facebook.com/geeks and degenerates. We react to trailers, and we stream video games, and we stream about our lives from time to time. And individually, you can find me at Yandafos1995 on Instagram and Twitter. How about you two?
You can find me at JomJom on Instagram. It is my art.
You could find me on Twitter and Instagram at Seb the Pharmacist. The Pharmacist is pharmacist minus the P. And you can find me streaming and making podcasts on my page, our page, me and my friends, facebook.com/Slurrp Media, SLURRP Media, on Facebook. And you might find us on Twitch soon, depending on
Oh, shit.
when we properly have that up. But for now, it's gonna be Facebook for us. But yes, you'll also find the Geeks and Degenerates boys down there sometimes too. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And please continue to stay safe, wear masks, social distance, and get vaccinated if you can. Get your booster already, for fuck's sake. And we'll see you on the next video. Goodbye, everybody.
Ciao.